Okay, nice. My thing
All
was
right, let's get started here. My name is Alan C. This is my podcast. Be quiet, grown folks is talking. Um, I'm not the smartest person in the world. I don't know everything, but I do know a lot of things. Um, this my podcast is about community things, education, and I do some sports segment. So I am fortunate right now um, to have two gentlemen with me that I've known for quite some time. They're part of the Queensbridge, how we say it, Brotherhood. Y'all call it basketball brotherhood, which I think is a good term. Uh, we have Red Bruin here and DJ Johnson. Red Bruin played for Syracuse and DJ played for Marquette. Um, I appreciate both of these brothers coming on and doing this cast. So, Red, you started off. Introduce yourself. Talk about what you're doing and what you've been doing, and yeah, just
okay.
tell us a little bit about yourself.
I was happy to come on with you tonight, Al. As you know, we all from the same neighborhood and stuff. And me and DJ have been friends since childhood, man. You know, like ninth and tenth graders in high school.
Hmm.
And I've like literally ate dinner at his house, and he's been to my house. I mean, we used to play together, travel together. We've won tournament championships together, along with Gene, who I hope will be on here a little later. So, Brotherhood is the right name to call it. What we have, I almost wish he would have came to Syracuse with us, but he went to Marquette, and that's how it is. Everybody's got to do when it comes to basketball. Even though we consider ourselves brothers, we all had to do what we felt was best, for our own individual careers and situation. Um, Gene, like I said, who I hope comes on later, he was really instrumental in introducing me to a lot of people in Queensbridge that helped facilitate and get my basketball game at a different level as to where it was when coming up in Ravenswood. It just wasn't the same type of competition as in Queensbridge. We've got a documentary coming out, and actually there's some trailers out now about all the great players that came out of there. It's a Division One, Division Two, and Division Threes heaven. I mean, just like on every block that you go to, you can name 3, 4, 5 guys that had college and or NBA potential. I mean, to that point, I don't know any major college coaches that you probably could say did not come to Queensbridge to
Right.
scout the talent that we had playing out there in just our block tournaments. It was just unbelievable. Um, and I think a lot of that happens as we kept it going as something that we recognized early, and we would all come back. And Hank Carter was instrumental in that, and as well as Reese Center, because even though I mean we'd be at our individual high schools, we would go to school all day, have basketball practice for a couple of hours, go home and eat dinner as fast as we could, and then run up to Reese Center and play for another 2 or 3 hours. This is after having
Hmm.
basketball practice at our schools. I mean, that's how much we love the game, but that's how much respect we had for the type of competition, the type of learning environment, the respect that we had for knowing how we were going to get pushed to the limit, playing against just some great players that were either current or had already played and came back, or former NBA players, former Division One players, playground legends. That was the real deal. I mean, you just had a cesspool of everything there, and it was really it was just something really special. And, New York was really the mecca of basketball during that time.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, DJ, uh, you tell people, the folks, what you're up to, what you've been doing, and what you did, and you know tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my story, well, Red hit it all on the head, and I don't want to overdo what he just did because I mean, or repeat what he just said, but I was the youngest of the group. I was a year behind. Well, I was 2 years behind Red and a year behind Jeannie and Vic and Vern and Ronnie Williams. So for me, I'm from 10th Street in Queensbridge, 4007. And my block was the mecca of basketball, where everybody came to play. When they came to Queensbridge, that's where the tournaments were, was on the dime block. And I grew up watching everybody under the lights, I mean, I was like a 9, 10-year-old, even an 8-year-old. I used to watch Paul Means, Potts, the old heads, Martin. I grew up watching them under the lights in Queensbridge, and there was nothing better than being an 8, 9-year-old, being able to be outside and it's dark and the block is packed. Everybody's enjoying themselves. So, for me, it all started with CYO. And that's when I first time I started playing organized ball, and I owe all that to Ronnie Williams. He took me to my first tryout. And then, of course, it was Reese Center, Hank Carter. And then, there's one thing that we have never really talked about or give recognition to is Mr. DaCosta, who ran the night gym at PS 111. I mean, I got to give everything to him, too, because I used to go to 111, even though I went there for elementary school. But I used to go there at night to work out, to play. And that's
I don't mean to cut you off. Was that all the time? Was that always a thing at 111? Yeah, I don't remember that.
Yeah, 111 was when I went to when I was in junior high. I used to go to 111. And it was always the older guys, so that's where I got to work out with older guys and everything when I was in junior high. Mr. DaCosta, he ran the gym, and and it was a really good thing because it was only 2 blocks from Queensbridge. You just walk straight up and you right there. That long block, but it was and that's where Ravenswoods and Queensbridge came together to play ball.
Right.
So then from there, the one thing Red didn't mention that I will clarify. Red and I and Phil Smith went to high school together. We went to Monte Cristi. And I was a freshman. Red and Phil were juniors, and Vern Fleming was a sophomore. We were all at Monte Cristi together. And the first year we came together, we won city and state. Well, we won the city. We won Catholic School championship. We also won the city championship between Catholic and public, because that first year we beat Cardoza for the city championship. Second year, I left and went to St. John's Military Academy, and I was there with Ronnie Williams, who's another one from Queensbridge, and
he played at Florida.
He went to he played at Florida. Ronnie's still Florida's all-time leading scorer. And he's the freshman all-time SEC leading scorer because he led the all freshmen.
I saw that. Yeah.
So I hope very soon I hear that they are going to retire his number for University of Florida because we're talking 37 years, almost 40 years.
Wait, I thought they already did that.
No, they have not retired his number. When he passed last year in November, they were talking about it. So I guess it's in the making.
Okay.
So hopefully that'll happen soon. But he is recognized as their all-time leading scorer. So Ronnie and I was at St. John's together, Military Academy in Delafield, Wisconsin. And then my senior year, I came back to Monte Cristi and finished in New York. But, I think one of the most important things that Red said, because Red's from Ravenswood and I'm from Queensbridge, there was no difference but 5 blocks, but we still was family because during that time, there was only 2 major schools for, kids from Ravenswood or Queensbridge to go to. And that was either LI or Monte Cristi.
Yeah.
And if you were really playing ball, it was only LI or Monte Cristi. So I think later on in the show I'll share how I got to Monte Cristi because Greg played a huge part of that.
Yeah. We wasn't gonna let you get over to Long Island City, man.
Well, look, DJ, I wanna y'all have I just got a message from Eugene. He still seems to be
Yeah, he's still struggling, huh?
I don't know what what to say or to do about that.
But, he got that fancy phone. His phone's too fancy.
He's still dealing with the phone. He probably needs to jump on a computer, but we're not going to worry about that right now. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to play a clip from your documentary. Now, one of y'all want to introduce this clip?
Go ahead, DJ. I'm gonna let you go ahead and do that, man.
Sure. Bob Cassidy is a sports writer for Newsday. And I was asking him how did he think about coming up with featuring Queensbridge and the basketball program like United Queens. How did he think about it? Mm-hmm. So, and this is from Bob. Bob Cassidy told me that his father used to be a sports writer for Newsday, and his father used to cover Monte Cristi. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember, but Newsday started in the mid 70s, like 77, something like that. It just came out.
Yeah, kind of late
70s. Yeah.
So, and I think it was based out of Long Island or something. So they did a lot of Queens. So they were covering us. His father, and he used to come with his father when he used to cover our games. Mm-hmm. So that was his interest there. And Bob's pretty much around same age as us. So, I think that's Phil trying to sneak in here.
Yeah, he's in. He's in. He doesn't have a picture. He needs to turn on his
turn your video
camera,
on, Phil.
His video on.
I'm trying, but it's not working.
We can hear you.
All right. Well, that's cool. That's cool. We can work with just your voice.
I'm not electronically literate.
All right. Well, that goes for a lot of us. If you was here on earlier, you see what I just went through setting this up.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that, DJ. He always had the highest grades between all of us there.
Exactly.
But I was into writing and stuff like that.
I don't mean to cut you all off, but full disclosure, Phil, I don't know if you know, but we're related through marriage. You know that, right?
What's your name?
I'm Alan Coles. Alan C. My little sister is Tasha.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, so you're my nephew. She's my nephew.
Exactly. Your nephew and your niece is my nephew and niece also. So we're related. I don't remember you that much. I knew of you. I tried to check out some of your games. It seemed like I could never catch one of your games, so I never saw you play. But I heard a whole lot about you. All so,
right. I'm not on camera.
DJ, if you want to finish.
Okay. So, I forgot where I was.
You were talking about Bob Cassidy.
Bob Cassidy, right? So he thought about he wanted to do a documentary on Queensbridge and Long Island City and United Queens. So it was so his whole focus was the Monte Cristi, Jim Gatto, Red, Phil, they wanted Vern, myself. Then it expanded, which worked out really well because it expanded to Genie, LIC, and the whole culture of Queensbridge, because, like I said, there's only two schools, either Monte Cristi or LIC. So it's either public or Catholic.
Yeah, he really was a big fan of Monte Cristi. He wanted to start out doing something just on Monte Cristi and how we were all close and lived in the same area. But then the documentary kind of took a life of his own as he started talking about just how many great players came from Queensbridge.
Right.
Oh man,
you started talking about not just DJ and Phil and Vern that were at Monte Cristi, that you also had Gene Waldron and Vern's brother Vic and Ronnie Williams and Then you want to start going back. You got Willie Sims and Larry Petty and
Right.
Skip Jackson and
Andy Walker, Roy
Andy Walker,
Beekman.
Roy Beekman.
I heard there's even another dude. I don't know if he's from
Big
Tennessee
Rich.
that played. He played pro, from what I understand, and don't nobody seem to really know him or know about him. I heard somebody mention him, but I'm not really.
Sean Green.
I don't know.
I don't know for the Sixers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sean Green and well, when you think of pros, when you say pros, Vern is the one. Vern and Ron Artest are the ones that did the longest stint. Mm-hmm. Then you got to go with Andy and Sean Green. Okay. Those are the 4 from Queensbridge that made it to the NBA.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Vern played in the Olympics, I believe with Bobby Knight.
Yeah. Vern is the only one that got a gold medal from the Olympics.
Wow. You know what? I forgot about that. Mm-hmm. I forgot about that.
The funniest thing, we all was in the Olympic trials together.
Mm-hmm. Really?
For that 84 year. We were all in the Olympic trials.
Wow.
So, that 84 team had 2 New Yorkers, Chris and Vern Fleming.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, Chris Mullin.
Yeah. So, there was a lot to cover. It was unimaginable for him to think of that until he started talking to us and we started throwing these names out. And then you realize, like Red said, it took a life to itself. Mm-hmm. And there was so many avenues to go. He had no idea that it was going to grow like this, I think.
Yeah. It was almost like an investigation that started out, and then the next thing you know, the whole building is involved.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. One person. Right. So it just took off. But it's going really good.
Well, that's why I wanted to do this with y'all, because some of the documentaries I've seen about Queensbridge and things like that, I feel like they only tell a very small part of the story. And I wanted to go deeper and try to tell the whole story and try to include everyone that played college basketball. I don't care if it was junior college or whatever, and see their history, what high school they played for also. And it's just so many. Like I was telling DJ, we was talking, I think me and you was talking, Red. It was like, from what I remember, it was like 15 of y'all at one time that was playing Division I basketball out of one area. Like, that's crazy. And I include, that's just Queensbridge, and I include Ravenswood and Astoria in with that. And I don't even know the people.
Yeah, it's so many. You forget about guys like Rudy Wright and Wayne Wright.
This is what I'm saying. And I wanted to explore all this. So this, I hope, is not just a one-time thing. I hope we're going to have more of these conversations. But now I want to run your clip. I want to run the clip, and then we'll talk some more afterwards. All right?
Yeah,
sure.
All right.
Trying to escape. Aside to my mom's step shots through the window. Needles cut.
Close-knit group of guys.
I'm on the edge of insanity, still fighting temptation.
We just had a group of guys that just wanted to play basketball.
Don't waste it.
We always, in the end, got back together.
Better tie up the laces. Never taking backward steps. In the background is Big's life after death. Gone.
and here we are 40 years later. We still have that close bond.
Oh, that picture.
Remember that, huh, Phil?
I never saw that picture till you posted it.
Wow.
Monica thought I think that team was unbeatable when we all came to play. When that whole team came to play, we were just unbeatable. You know, we would have an answer it's very rarely that you play on a team like that.
I stepped foot at Monte Cristi as a freshman. It just was a really wild ride. Everything blew up for me.
These kids could really play.
Practices were much harder than the games, and it wasn't by accident. It was by design by Coach Gatto. He wanted it that way.
They were unselfish. They would pass the ball. They didn't really care. They just wanted to win. They didn't care who scored.
You learn from a very early age that the best player don't always win.
Wow.
You got to have a team. It takes a team to win.
They all played together at early ages. By playing together at an early age, it helped us in the long run.
We played in the city championship, LIC versus A La Stevenson. Everybody had picked Franklin to win. They had Gary Springer, Steve. They had a crew, and we beat them in the semis.
Long Island City at that time had so many good ball players. There was a run there of like 7 years that so many good players came out of there.
LIC played Monte Cristi.
And Vern went against his brother, Vic, and you couldn't tell the difference between them because they were twins.
They beat us by about 15. It's funny because when we were going to play that game, we ain't talk to each other. There was no like, hey, we got on the court, it was like, it's a battle. There was no love between us then, but afterwards it was like, all right, y'all beat us. We couldn't stop Red. We just couldn't stop him. Yeah, I mean, he dunking all on us and looking at it. We just couldn't do nothing with him.
DJ was, I think, the one that put us over, made us a championship team.
Dwayne was like a man-child.
He was about 6'6".
And he was so strong, a great rebounder, a good jump shot, but such a powerful player.
He could probably play against anybody from 6'6" to 6'10". I mean, even as a freshman, he had a college body in the 9th grade. He was fearless.
Always said what he was going to do, and he went out and did it on the court. There was no question about that.
Jack Curran from Archbishop Malloy always said that he thought Dwayne was one of the best players he ever faced. Philip Smith was a tough kid from the projects.
No to guard him.
From foul line to foul line, he was so quick.
I don't think there's anybody quicker from baseline with basketball in his hand.
The only one that really would go out to try to stop him was Vern.
He could go 100 miles an hour right, 100 miles an hour left.
His handle, it was like he had a yo-yo.
It caused a lot of disruptions on defense.
Phil was fierce.
Phil had a temper on him from junior high school.
He'd feel ready to fight at the drop of a hat.
Greatest point guard I ever had in my life. I mean, and I'm going to say,
Phil, you hand this, man?
Jeannie was a character.
Gene was the one that
That's crazy.
we take any fear that we had away from him. We'd go to Michigan, we'd go to D.C., we'd go to Philly, and Gene would be in the locker room cracking jokes. I mean, he just kept the atmosphere so loose.
Actually, Jeannie and I are from the same block. So we used to play on 10th Street together. But a really good, hard-working basketball player. But Jeannie was the guy that just made you laugh.
Gene reminded me of a Kenny Anderson, lefty, great handle, good shooter, a penetrator. He was a good ball player.
He just made everything fun. He just made playing basketball, just going out there and having fun, no matter what stage he was on. It'd be a championship game, and Gene would be, cracking jokes about the other players' sneakers or something like that.
When you talk about Queensbridge and the guy who really made it to the top, I think you would have to talk about Vern Fleming.
First impression of Vern and Vic is I met them when I was 11 because we played at St. Rita's together.
Vern was the man. He had a skill set that was really tough to match.
And I guess basketball was a gateway for them to get out. You got to see a different side of them.
And then Vern, so smooth, 6'5", point guard.
Vern, he just constantly moved without the ball. He was like poetry in motion. It was Vern that was magically losing his man and getting open, and making me like I'm a great passer.
Could penetrate, rebound.
He's like some of those players that you watch and you just say, I love the way he moves.
It's just a great all-around player.
Well, me and Vic played high school together. We were beating people up on the regular. Vic worked hard. In my opinion, I believe Vic was a pro. He just didn't get the opportunity.
Big Ron.
Ronnie comes over and said he has next. So Ronnie goes get his 5 guys, and they come back to the block, and my team won. So we started playing, and it was very competitive. And then after we finished playing, Ronnie says to me, St. Rita's is having tryouts tomorrow, and I'll come get you. And I told him, I was like, you got to ask my mom.
When Ronnie was coming up and DJ would come up, they were a little bit young with it, but they were just as good. There was no question they were just as good.
Ronnie recruited the whole team. He got everybody together.
Those two, there was times we had senior games and we was like, look, let's go find DJ and Ronnie. We need them. Ronnie was nothing but laughter. Ronnie will have your sides hurting for hours. And Ronnie was always the one that would come up with ideas. So Ronnie got an idea how we can win and how we could do this. But Ronnie always had the ideas. It was hard for a lot of us when he passed. It was wow.
Yeah.
That was tough. We were close. We were close.
After junior high, that's when I met Tony Ray Bruin. One day he comes to me and says, you should think about coming to Monte Cristi. And I was like, varsity in high school? I said, I'm not ready. I'm telling myself this. And he's like, no.
Red could change a game.
He can jump out the gym.
He had a 42-inch vertical jump.
And then he took off.
A heck of a basketball player.
He protected the rim. And at 6'5", he would block a lot of shots.
He was someone I looked up to.
And the game would change when he would make one of those great dunks.
He had confidence in me.
Always was encouraging. I went to Syracuse because of Tony. I knew I can always count on Tony. He took me under his wing, and I had not much respect for what he did for me when I first got to Syracuse.
Red had the school record of 43 points. Okay, so we're playing Rice High School for the semifinals for the city championship at St. John's University. So we were up big. So I took Red out of the game, but I left Vern in, and Vern really had a great game. So I said, Red, you have the school record. I said, Vern is at that stage where he has 43 points. Do you want me to take him out because you have the school record? So he says, no, coach, it doesn't matter. He's such a good player. Let him get the record, because if he doesn't get it this year, he'll get it next year when I graduate. That's the kind of person he was.
To be able to play beside him was any honor I can even imagine. But he was a really, really good, he still is a good guy, because Red and I are still in touch. We have a close friendship from the day he came to me. When I met him, he came to me and asked me about going to Monte Cristi, and here we are 40 years later.
We always, in the end, got back together when there was like something going on, and we had to compete against maybe another community. The crew got back together. It was like, okay, let's go do this. We just had a group of guys that just wanted to play basketball, and it was a great way for us to keep our friendship together. And to this day, most of us all stay friends.
Yeah. We were a close-knit group of guys. For us to go from St. basketball to high school and playing against each other in college.
No one put anyone down. We always pulled for each other.
I tell people all the time I would never change anything about my upbringing and those who I came in contact with from my neighborhood, because the man you see in front of you is because it took a village to raise me.
Unstoppable. I know that you want me to fall, but no, I won't.
know you waiting.
I'll keep fighting until the day I live out.
I do.
Till I sit in heaven, I will never stop.
Never.
I will never stop.
Can't stop, won't stop like a Diddy. 10 steps ahead, so the rest can forget it. And my mind is no limits. If you don't believe, can't flow with it. While they sit on their hands like go get it. Logic means nothing to a fool. Can't survive if you breaking all the rules. Yeah, I triple up times 2. My homies.
All right, guys, that's dope. That is dope. That is dope. I look forward to seeing the whole documentary. Yo, that I like what he did with that. It was thorough. I was just getting ready to put up your stats and stuff too, but he did it. He did it for me. And yo, man, Ronnie Williams. I miss that brother. He used to get me in a lot of clubs when I first started with the music business, and I was going around to the clubs and doing stuff. And
he was a bouncer, right?
Yeah, man. He used to get me in Sue's. I was like celebrity when I would come to Sue's. Like Fat Joe and them would all be in there, and I would be right in there with them in the VIP. I would get in. I didn't wait on the line. I would get straight in, and man, I was like a celebrity. I remember going there, and I had bodyguard Tyson Bedford, and I had this young girl because my sister was running Envy's. At the heyday of Envy's, my sister was running Envy's, so I used to get in Envy's the same way. I didn't have to wait online. I had to wait on when they had that Sunday party. I would get in there. As a matter of fact, I took Jeff Blake and the guy that was playing quarterback, the drunk that was playing quarterback for the Giants. I forget his name. I took him, Jeff Blake, and what's that wide receiver for San Francisco? What's his name? What's the wide receiver, the best wide receiver San Francisco ever had? What's his name?
Who? What's the name that
Rice. I had Rice, I had Jeff Blake, and that Haslett or whatever his name was that was playing for the Giants at the time. He was an alcoholic. I took all of them into Envy's, you know, and yeah. And like I said, Ronnie was part of my situation that got me into a lot of places. He's a good dude, man. He was a real good dude. Never seen a frown on his face. He's always laughing, always smiling. You know, he just made you happy when you seen him, you know, or me anyway, you know. And,
I think Ronnie.
Did you still do anything with music? You know, that was one of Queensbridge's own that had the music to that trailer that we had.
Yeah, I see.
He played for me when I was coaching at Schenectady Community College. So I see that he was trying to do his thing with the rap game, and we were looking for some music to add to the documentary, and I mentioned him to Bobby Cassidy. So now he's doing the music on the stuff. So what do you think about him?
It's dope. It's dope. Like I said, I like that whole. I didn't mention the music, but I like the music too. I thought that whole thing was dope. Like I said, I've seen other documentaries, and I wasn't about Queensbridge. I wasn't really impressed, but that right there, I was impressed. I'm impressed. I can't wait to see the whole thing. And Phil,
yo,
still there? You want to say anything? You want to introduce yourself? Talk about what you're doing, where you're at, and what you're doing.
Phil Tiny Smith, born in Brownsville, Brooklyn. You know, I got out to Queensbridge when I was about 13 years old, and I didn't really meet any of these guys until I started playing. You know, going up to the Reese Center and stuff like that. So. You know, I was practically an unknown coming in. Everybody else had probably played with each other and knew of each other. I was kind of like the odd man out until they figured out that I could play a little bit.
So that's why I wasn't aware of you like that. You know, I thought that was just me, that I wasn't aware.
No, because I didn't get an invite from Red to go to Monte Cristi.
Hey, who gave you a nickname, man?
But Phil, how did you get to Monte Cristi, man? Share that story, please.
You wanna hear that story?
Yeah, I want to hear it because I never knew it.
That's a funny one. So the coach up at LIC is recruiting me out of junior high school.
That was Banks.
That was Banks, Floyd Banks, and he comes to my house and he's selling my mom a whole bunch of stuff, which is cool. And so I enroll in at Long Island City, and I'm probably a week in. We haven't started playing. I haven't even been to the gym yet, and I get into an altercation with the with some of the security guards at over there because they were running that thing like a prison at that time.
Rightfully so. Rightfully so.
I don't know if Jeannie told you that or let anybody know about that, but yeah, it was kind of like Rikers over there.
Wow.
And in the morning, we before class, you want to go get something to eat or whatever the case may be before the bell ring. So I see all these people leaving, so I get up to leave, and they tell me I can't leave. I can't go. I'm like, what? I'm like everybody else is going too. Why can't I go? Well, you're not worried about everybody else. We're worried about you right now. I said, man, I'm going. You better get your hands off me, man. Crazy. So we scuffle, and they hem me up in between the glass where they have the trophies and stuff, the showcase. They hem me up in there, and then the crazy principal comes out. They call him, and he's trying to put his hands on me, and that's not gonna happen. So they call my mom, and my mom comes up there, and she throws a fit. So I'm out of school for about a month.
Wow.
It was right before Christmas break. I'm out of school. So I decided I'm not going back there. So they send me to Newtown.
Oh, I went there. Oh, okay.
They sent me to Newtown, and I get there. So like I'm behind, and I'm going to these classes, and I have no idea what's going on. So I see the coach in the hallway one day, and he asked me if I'm going out for the team because I guess he knew I was coming. And I said probably not because I'm probably not going to be here much longer. So that was the last conversation I had with him, and then Rob Johnson.
I was going to ask you about him. Go ahead.
Yeah, Rob Johnson. Got with me. I guess he was talking to Gatto, knew of my situation, and brought me up there, met Gatto. And I told Gatto, and this is the God's honest truth. I told him, I said, look, I'm looking at your gym. I'm looking up in the banner in the ceiling, and I don't see any banners up there for championships. I told him, I said, I'm bringing you 2. That was my junior and senior year. I said, before I leave, we're gonna have 2 up there. And damned if we didn't.
Okay.
So that's how I got to Monte Cristi.
Okay. Listen, let's segue in because I was going to ask. It's so funny you brought Rob up. I was going to bring him up and get everybody's impression of him because it amazed me when he came up to me one day and told me where I was playing at and everything. I'm like, how the hell do you know that? I didn't tell nobody in Queensbridge that I was going to the University of Bridgeport, that I had walked onto the team and made the team. I hadn't told nobody that. And somehow or another, he knew because there was this young white boy that came from LIC the same time I came. And I guess that's evidently how he knew I was there. I forget the kid's name. They redshirted him because he wasn't strong enough.
Was it Kevin O'Neill?
It might be. I don't really remember his name. All I know is they redshirted him.
That's
missed
all
a lot
Roger
of
talked about. He used to love his jump shot. Kevin O'Neal.
I
Kevin
think
O'Neal.
you know what? I think you're Red. I think you're right because
Yeah,
that was supposed to be his thing. He was supposed to be this great jump shooter
yeah,
and all
yeah.
that,
He
but
missed the
he
boat on
wasn't
that
strong enough. He could not bang. He could not bang. Like I didn't realize because I never played no organized basketball till I went there. I played 1 year for Hank City League and didn't really play. I rode the bench. I had played, it's so funny. Phil talked about that thing about how school was because I went to a 600 school. My first high school I went to was Hillcrest. I got kicked out. I got busted with a bag of weed almost as soon as I got there and got kicked out of there. Then I went back to 600 school and then they sent me to Newtown. I came out the train station the year I was supposed to go to Newtown and looked across the street and seen all them white people in that school. I said, I'm not going here. Fuck that. And I never went back to school. I went and got GED. But the funny thing about it is I didn't know that about 600 school too, that you couldn't just leave when you want to. I almost went through the same thing you went through, Phil. I seen everybody leave and I got up to leave. They're going to tell me I couldn't leave. And they had to lay hands on me too. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Like, nah, you leave when we tell you to leave. And we got to escort you to the train station. I said, what the fuck is this? I said, all right. And I never forget the teacher I had. His name was Mr. Salter. And he was an ex-football player for the Bears. And he laid hands on me, held me down and everything until I calmed down. And me and him became best friends because I started playing sports because of him. And but I never played no real organized sport. I never played in Queensbridge like that. Every time I played, it was outside too. It was in Brooklyn or something, or the Bronx or something like that. But yeah.
So Alan, you never played under the lights? You never played on 10th Street?
Never played on 10th Street. But I learned enough from Hank that 1 year I played for him that it allowed me to walk on to the University of Bridgeport. I can't. Oh, Marvin Webster was the coach. As a matter of fact, he ended up coaching Manu Bowl, and I never.
Yeah, that's right. Manu did go there.
Yeah. Mook came after me, and I never got to play because this dude. I never played organized ball, so I didn't know. Like it was like a military thing, like a red. It's not a democracy. It's a dictatorship. And when the coach says you do what you do, this is what you do. You keep your mouth shut and you keep it moving. I didn't get that. I was like, somebody was telling me about all the problems that Skips had up at Wisconsin. I was like, Skip, I thought listen, I didn't understand. Nigga, you a walk-on. You ain't scholarship. You ain't nobody from nowhere, so you don't get no props. I turned up late for a scrimmage, didn't get to play. I was mad. I asked them about it. They told me if I didn't like it, I could go home. I told them, yo, fuck y'all, I'm going home. Which was dumb as shit, but that's what I did. But like I said, I watched all, because of that, I watched all of y'all. And as a matter of fact, watching y'all made me try because I'm like 2 years ahead of y'all. I was at Bridgeport 77, 78. Yeah, so y'all didn't play until the 80s, right?
Yeah, you 2 years ahead. Because we finished in 79, me and Red.
Right. But I was watching y'all. Like I was getting inspiration from y'all. To even try that shit, and to this day, I don't even know how I talked myself into that school with a high school diploma. I had an equivalency diploma and got into a university. I can't even tell you how I pulled that shit off. But that's another story. That's my story. We're talking about your story now. This is what I wanted to get into, and I wanted to ask y'all because I always saw a problem with the fact that when I went to school, I didn't have no scholarship, so I had to get a loan. I had to work in the gym. I had to work for the school and everything to pay my tuition. And at the time, University of Bridgeport had one of the highest tuition. As a matter of fact, it was $5,000 a year for room and board to go to University of Bridgeport. And this was back in the 70s. This was back in the fucking 70s. And so I had to do a whole lot of machinations to get into school and to stay in the school. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't make it to that scrimmage on time. And I felt like they should have understood I didn't live on campus. I had to travel all the way from my cousin's house to get to the Bridgeport every day, and he should have took that into consideration, but he didn't. So that is what it is. But what I wanted to ask, talk to y'all about is your experiences in college, in high school, and the fact that y'all wasn't getting paid, which I realized how bad that was with the Fab Five. When I watched what the Fab Fives when what Weber went through, watching all them make all that money off him while he was there, and he was broke, and he had to take money under the table, and they made a big deal out of it when he turned pro, and I'm like, I never understood what made them think that shit is right, and now they kind of changing it around where they allowing these kids to sell their likeness, their what is it? Likeness?
NIL.
Yeah.
NIL.
And I think they should have been doing that years ago.
Name, image, and likeness.
There you go. But what I want to know is, how do y'all feel y'all were treated when y'all was in school? Like when y'all went to college, then when y'all was in high school, and then when y'all went to college. Do you feel like y'all was treated extra special, that y'all got a lot of perks and a lot of leeway to do things, or that wasn't the case? Anybody can chime in. Who wants to go first on that?
Let me start first, because Red and Phil, theirs is like off the charts.
What?
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
The one that's talking.
So to answer your question, for me personally, because of what you said is the NIL, Phil.
Yeah, name, image, and likeness.
Right. So our generational mentality is different. So with us, man, we just love to play the game. We were honored to be recognized as student athletes, and to be honored to be offered, because back then it was an honor to be offered a scholarship to a Division I. It was an honor. The same way it was an honor to represent United States in the Olympics. Now it's you know what I'm saying. So it's different generations. But for me, coming out of Monte Cristi, coming out of St. John's Military Academy, and also St. John's, coming out of Monte Cristi, it was all the same, because when I got to Monte Cristi, I started playing with the Gauchos. I didn't play with United Queens.
You played with Gauchos?
I was a Gaucho.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing is that I met Lou Dalmeida and Mike at the Monsignor. What was that Christmas tournament we played Morrison, Red?
Oh yeah,
Monsignor.
Yeah, with Phil messed up and we lost.
Oh, well, I got thrown out.
Phil gonna pick a fight with the biggest guy or the Morris team, and at that time Morris was number one, so we was killing them, and then we lost to them by like 1 or 2, and lost to them. So at the end of the game, Lou Dalmeida and them come up to me and ask me, "Do I want to come play with the Gauchos?" I'm like, you got to ask my moms. But, the long story short, man, is that when I got with the Gauchos, that's when I started seeing the world. Literally. So when going to Division I basketball, I'm seeing places, it's like almost like playing professionally. Now you're seeing all the major cities. So when you get out of school, and you talk about was there perks? Yeah, there's perks. You get in clubs free. You're able to go to the local sandwich shop, get some sandwiches and all of that. They feeding you, things like that. But nothing outrageous. But yeah, you was treated as a celebrity, I think. All right, Red, I'm waiting to hear your story.
My name is Wes, and I ain't getting in that mess, man. No, I just think that I wish that they had then what they have today with the NIL. I probably could have made millions doing that. And I don't know if there's no recourse to go back and do anything about it. It's just the way things were with the NCAA. They had such a hold over everything now.
They still do.
Well, the sneaker companies are the ones that have the power now. Believe it or not, because even back in the day where you'd go to like a 5-star camp or Eastern Invitational, and it'd be 300 college coaches sitting around watching your games and even your practices. The sneaker companies have kind of pretty much shut that down, and now you got to go to the elite sneaker tournaments,
Right.
from the AU, either through Adidas or Nike, and a little bit of crumbs that's left, the NCAA is taking that for themselves. You got to go to tournaments that's NCAA sanctioned. So it's kind of a different world in the basketball thing now, but it's really the big sneaker companies that are running things.
Okay. Phil, you got anything you like to say about that subject?
Well, I just piggyback on what they said. I mean, pretty much, you are treated as a celebrity. They recruit you to get out there. They show you around. They do all of this kind of stuff. But you have to work for your stuff, though. I mean,
Right.
You can't. It's just not guaranteed that you're going to continue to get these gifts. And a lot of people don't realize that when they say, "Oh, you got a full ride to college," that's a year-to-year thing.
Yeah.
It's not
Absolutely.
It's not 4 years, so they can get rid of you anytime
Whenever they
feel
want.
like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, so I got threatened with that a few times because I talked to some people. Well, I used to talk to what's his face at Vegas, at the coach at Vegas.
Tartanian.
Yeah, I used to talk to him all the time because Red and Sid Green, used to be around him all the time, and I'd be around him, and we do some tournaments in the summer and stuff like that. So I knew him, he knew me, and I talked to him before games and stuff like that, and everybody thought that I was transferring, because I was talking to Luke to Tarkanian.
That was my team, the running Rebs. I always loved the running Rebs.
Yeah, we used to have some good games. We had home and homes against them.
Yeah.
When I first started. But getting back on that, I mean, like Red said, the sneaker companies are pretty much in control of who goes where and what coaches get who and all of this kind of stuff.
Really? I mean, they are really that deep in it?
Man, are you kidding me? I mean, it's all about brands right now. They don't care. They don't care about anything else. It's about your brand. I mean, it's like LeBron James Jr.
Mm-hmm.
He just signed.
Yeah.
A deal.
Yeah.
And he's going to be making, not that he needs it, but he's going to be making millions of dollars.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not about what you know. A lot of times it's about who you know.
Yeah.
And
what's really interesting to me, and I'm glad y'all brought this up because I think that when we played, the sneakers sponsored the team. Now and I saw this when the last few years that whatever team the sneaker brand sponsors, they sponsor a tournament and they bring all these teams across from the country to play in a national tournament. And it's not the same like how it used to be because you won't see a team that wear Adidas playing a team that wear Nikes. Like in college and high school you will, but not in the AAU circuit.
Yeah.
Which is confusing to me because I think that kind of took the power away from the organizations and also
the sneaker companies tell you what tournaments even to play in now.
Right, and I think that's giving sneaker companies too much power. They didn't deserve that.
That's what it sounds like.
Because their sneakers would not be anything if it wasn't for us spending our money on it. Mm-hmm. That's first and foremost. And if you didn't see guys like LeBron or Jordan, I like how Jordans look, but I never played in Jordan because there was no support.
You can't play.
Word. Yeah, I was never a big Jordan fan. Yeah, I started when Nikes first came out when I was playing, and I liked them from the very beginning, and it was so funny when I went to Bridgeport. That was the sneaker they was wearing, so I automatically got a pair of those sneakers. But yeah, I what y'all telling me is a revelation to me. I didn't know. I know that the sneaker game and the shoe game is a big thing. I mean, that's what almost made Kanye a billionaire. But I didn't know they was exerting that kind of control on the basketball,
But
especially college basketball.
the thing that's killing it now though is that NIL though. That's the thing. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Now these players can get paid off of their name, off of their images, and off of their likenesses. When back in the day we couldn't.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So these colleges were. I mean, the coach would get paid for wearing Adidas, and so
Right.
the whole team had to wear Adidas.
yeah.
Now,
That was supposed to be our perk, the right to wear the sneakers. You know, that was our pay, I guess.
Yeah, that was our pay because we would get everything. We used to get the tracks, we used to get the
Meanwhile,
basketball shoes.
Meanwhile,
listen.
the coach in the university getting a couple of million.
Listen, let me ask this. Y'all, you don't have to really answer this question because I know it's kind of a touchy situation, but it's part of that and part of the reason why I asked that question. Were y'all offered any money and stuff? You know, I know you have the perks, but were you actually offered material things or cash money?
yep. There was.
Uh,
All right,
Hey,
that's keeping it real.
I don't care what nobody say, man. If they say they ain't get nothing, nobody offered them nothing, they full of it. I'm gonna tell you that right off the bat.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Well, you know what,
Yeah.
Phil? That's why they developed the fifth. I take the fifth.
You know what?
In my Donald Trump voice, the fifth. I was the fifth.
I was never one to take the fifth. I was never one to take the fifth.
I hear you.
I feel
That's
you.
it. But
And
yeah, I
getting
mean,
back,
it happens all over the place, man. It happens everywhere. So
yeah.
if somebody says that they haven't, I mean, it's come on, seriously.
Well, I brought up, you brought up Rob, and I brought him up too. And what exactly was his job? What was he exactly doing? I have an idea. I have an
what?
idea, huh?
You know who he was? He was Tommy before Tommy.
Yeah. Okay.
That's who he
Okay.
was. He was he was Tommy before Tommy because nobody knew exactly what he did.
Susan.
Like, oh, you talking about my man from Martin?
Martin, yeah.
Yo.
That was
Hey, Phil, I'm gonna just say this: you gave him a huge compliment because Tom was the man, right? Tom was the man, but
it was just an analysis.
I'll tell you
Rob,
what, DJ, Rob was the man to them coaches too.
no, Rob was the man. No
Like I
question.
said, he could
Don't get it
he could
twisted.
get information. He could go places. Like I said, I was amazed. I seen him in the projects, and then I seen him at Bridgeport too, and I was amazed. Like, nigga, how do you even know I'm here? Like, how'd you know that? But he was the man
Rob got around.
at one point. Yeah,
Rob
absolutely.
got around, and he knew people. He knew plenty of people.
All right, let me ask you another question because I was surprised at somebody else I talked to about doing this podcast, and they didn't really have a whole lot of good things to say about Hank Carter. And I know Hank had his particular ways, and he didn't particularly F with you if you hung out with certain people or you were doing certain things. He would definitely stay away from you. He kind of would prejudge people. I know that about him, but like I said, the 1 year I played for him, I learned a lot from him.
I'm gonna plead the fifth, Red.
Again, you gonna plead the fifth?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna speak on. I love Hank Carter to death, man. He did a lot for me, and he did a lot for my family. So I can only go by the interaction that we had. You know, matter of fact, I had a conversation with him last week for the first time in years because he helped a friend of mine, well, actually a family member out, and he's also helping my sister who caught a late case of muscular dystrophy with a motorized wheelchair. So I got nothing but love for
Okay.
Hank. I can't
Okay.
even, I can't say nothing.
Yeah, when it
bad
comes
about
to that
him.
wheelchair, that type of thing, you can't mess with him. With that we came up with that wheelchair classic, and what he did with that, I think, is phenomenal. It's tremendous. I remember going to them games, and I remember I used to go there just to see Tiny. Tiny used to attend them games. He would sit way back up in the bleachers,
Yep.
and I would go up there and talk to him. And
That's why Archibald.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I got to know him, and I seen you play. You know that, like I watched, like I said, I watched all of you, and I just was surprised when this individual, felt the way he felt about Hank, because I knew, like I said, I knew Hank had his ways, but when it came down to it, I think he's part of the reason why all of y'all, why the basketball situation in Queensbridge was what it was. Am I wrong? Didn't he contribute to a lot of players that came up out of there? Wasn't he a catalyst for a lot of Queensbridge?
I would say this, and this is my experience with Hank. I met Hank through my father. And because I used to watch them play up in Reed Center in the evenings, because my dad also played ball too. But when I got with CYO and I started, and then I played with United Queens, that's where United Queens was Hank's baby. And he was really my first coach, but he was too animated. I mean, he used to be, he used to get elevated.
Yeah.
So then that's when he brought Lou Gons in, which made things a lot easier. Where things got a little different with Hank and I is the day that Red came to me and asked me about Monte Cristi. And I don't know if Red, if you're familiar with this story or situation, or if I ever even shared it with you, I don't recall. But Hank was supposed to help me with my tuition my freshman year to Monte Cristi. Did you know that?
No, I wasn't aware of that.
Okay, so when I decided to do Monte Cristi and he offered to do that for me, I go to him and ask him, I'm playing varsity next year at Monte Cristi. As you know, I want to play with the juniors and seniors, and I'll still play midgets, whatever, but I want to play senior. He told me no. So, I felt that he was holding me back. He was not helping me prepare for the next level. Because I'm going from junior high to high school. And I'm not talking about I'm going to play freshman ball or JV. I'm going to play varsity. So, and I wanted the experience playing with older guys. And to me, Hank was holding me back. So I didn't need to say I didn't play that summer with United Queens.
Okay.
And that was my only thing. And Hank and I didn't talk for about 2 years until my junior year. He comes and asks me to play for in the wheelchair classic.
Okay.
So that it was.
You ended up playing with the Gauchos, so but none of that stuff.
Oh yeah, but the Gauchos came while I was at Monte Cristi. The Gauchos came that fall. Like because we played in that Christmas tournament. So the Gauchos came in December.
Right.
So it was that summer. And all up until we started at Monte Cristi, that because in the summertime I played at Montebello and I was playing citywide with a team in Queens in Jamaica. Ronnie put me onto the team. Ronnie and I was playing with the team, and I did play seniors. That's how I was prepared for when I went to Monte Cristi. But besides that, Hank's always been a straight up guy. I think we all had brushes with him or incidents. I think we all had at one point, but I think that because of our love for the sport and for our neighborhood, we do come together.
Right.
But I will say this, I'd never play with United Queens again.
Okay.
After that.
I got
because I was always Gauchos. I always played against you guys, but I never played with y'all no more.
It's all love. But I've got 2 little ones I got to get ready to put to bed, so I may be having to leave you guys pretty soon.
All right. Well, one more question because we're over time. I really don't like to have these go that long because I know people's attention spans ain't worth the shit. So I try not to go, and we're over an hour now. So just one more question before you leave, Red. Why do you think? What do you think was the reason why there was so many of y'all coming out when y'all came out, and why is the situation so thin now in Queensbridge? Like there's really no bad. The only kid I know coming out of Queensbridge right now is that Rodriguez kid. And he's playing Gauchos. I think he's playing Gauchos, and he's pretty good. And I've been watching him, and but he seems to be the only one other than this other girl. I don't really know who she is. I don't really know all about her, but I've been hearing about her. But
I think she's from Vernon, 40 side of Vernon.
Why is there so little talent coming out of Queensbridge now? What is it? What was the difference for y'all to what's going on now?
No, that's a tough question, and I asked a lot of people that. I think me and DJ and Jeannie had even talked about that amongst ourselves, trying to figure that one out. I don't know if it's the proliferation of a lot of people now going to prep schools, video games, technology. I mean, some of the guys that would actually be outside playing, that would shovel the basketball court to get the snow out the way to go play. Now they're in their house playing, NBA 2K or something. So I don't know if it's got a lot to do with technology. It's perplexing to me. I really don't have that answer.
I think you hit it on the head, Red, because it is technology. The kids today, they nowhere near or doing what we did. You had to kick us off the court. I mean, if the weather permits, even if it was raining, we out there shooting, if it's too cold, then we could take it indoors. I mean, no, it's the passion is not there. But the want is there, but the passion is not there.
Even the difference in the way that we go outside. Remember, DJ, once we ate and everything, our moms would just tell us, you better be in the house by the time them lights come on at night. These kids today, you got to shove them outside. Man. They don't want to go outside.
Right. And and it's socialization, and that's that is a lack of now. It's a lack of for the kids today because they isolate. They sit in front of the screen, and they got their thumbs up, and they just doing this.
They got these 75-inch TVs, and they just
I think also is they have not been able to see the world outside of Queensbridge. A lot of people don't get to travel. Luckily for us, we had the opportunity to be able to go to different cities.
And we had Encore, Riverside, Gauchos. I mean, you play with
man.
You all over the country, man. Not the world.
We didn't have that technology. I mean, we were trying to get out of the house before mom got up. That type of thing, you know what I'm saying? But now, like you said, Red, they just want to hang out in the house and play on the big screen. But we were different. We wanted to play on the big screen, but we wanted to be on the other side of that big screen.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So our thought process was just a little bit different than everybody else's.
You're right, Al. We might have to have a part 2 to this because we
will. And
y'all know how to get on now.
But we want to see you, Tane.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna get it fixed. I'm gonna get the wife to fix it for me.
So we're going to definitely do as long as y'all willing. I'm willing. Like I said, I want to go into some more issues, and I want to talk to some more people, as many as I possibly can. So that being said, I appreciate y'all guys, man. I really, really, truly appreciate that y'all did this.
Yeah, you one of us, man. We're gonna be there for you, man.
Man, thanks. Thank you for that. And
especially family. You family now.
Yeah. So we'll do this again. We'll do this again, man. And y'all brothers be safe, man. And I
Yeah.
have mad love for y'all, good love, and we're definitely going to do this again. So
Yeah,
with that
thanks,
being
Alex.
said, man,
Your info on
All
my
right.
email.
Hey, Phil,
No
it was
doubt.
good to hear from you. Next time, I definitely need to see you, man. I missed you. I ain't seen you in a minute.
yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
try to call you, Red, but you're a busy dude.
Nah,
You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
never
You're busy.
not that busy.
I can't believe I was like, I telling my people, I was like, man, I played with that dude right there, the one that jumps out the building. I played with him. I used to throw lobs to that cat. You know what I'm saying?
Pinpoint lobs. Nobody threw the best lobs like you, man. Don't let Jeannie hear that.
he got me to college.
Man, yo,
He helped me get to
you know
college.
what? It's so good to see that y'all are still in contact with each other, man. And,
Oh,
and just
absolutely.
from this little talk, I see y'all enjoyed each other, and y'all still enjoyed them. That's a
Oh,
beautiful
no
thing.
doubt, no doubt, no doubt.
So
All
look,
right.
y'all take it easy. Everybody be safe, man. Be
All
safe.
right, Alan. You take care. Phil, I'll be in touch, Red. I'll see you, bro.
Hey, Al, send me your information
I will.
All right.
so we keep in touch.
No doubt.
All
All
right.
Y'all
right,
be safe. I'm
Okay.
All
ending
right.
later,
this.
fellas.
I'm out.